Hi there and welcome back to my channel. This is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video we're discussing Lock Every Door, written by Riley Sager. It's a thriller, also a mystery playing out in the book as well. It's a slow burn psychological thriller and mystery. I didn't enjoy this book that much. It's a bit hit and miss. There's some things I really liked in this story, but things I didn't. And that includes the protagonist. I couldn't engage with the protagonist in this book for some reason. I don't know why. It's the first Riley Sager book I've read, and I will read more by this author. In fact, I'm planning to read through his whole catalogue, so there'll be different videos about books from this author in the future. But anyway, this book wasn't the best start for a first book by this author for me, but I enjoyed parts. Parts were really well done. Our main character Jules is down on her luck, and she just needs something to get her out of a rut. Something comes along that seems too good to be true. And this is the moment where I think that if it wasn't a thriller, it wasn't fiction, a person in real life would see red flags and think, no way, not for me. But being fiction, being a thriller, being the fact that we need these strange moments, these strange thoughts for the reader to have early on in the book. We need a character to be there to not recognise all those red flags and just go with the flow. That's what happens in this story, because Riley is jumping at the chance to be an apartment sitter for 3 months, and she's going to get paid $12,000 to do it. But then during the interview for this position, she's asked some really strange questions. Things like, what's your relationship status? How many friends do you have? That sort of thing. And that's red flag territory, basically. If you were going for a position, any position, if you're going to be a house sitter for somebody, not asking you questions about your relationships, do you have a boyfriend or girlfriend? How many friends do you have? How much family do you have? Are you in contact with your family? There'd be so many red flags coming up for you. You would just get out of there straight away. But in this book, the character, Jules, accepts all those questions, and then she's given the opportunity, given the job of being this apartment sitter for 3 months. But things go downhill pretty quickly in this story for Jules. She meets another apartment sitter called Ingrid, and Ingrid tells her very quickly, come across to Central Park, because this building they're in is opposite Central Park. Meet me at a certain section of the park because it's not safe to talk in the building about certain things. More alarm bells, more red flags. Anyway, Jules, the main character, goes across and they chat, and then Ingrid's telling her about strange things that go on in the building. The building's not safe, the building's not what it seems. But Jules seems not to take all that in. Then, during that night, Jules thinks she hears a scream and thinks it's coming from one floor downstairs where Ingrid is apartment sitting. But apparently Ingrid's okay, tells her not to worry. Then the next day, Ingrid's missing. And then we have a trope disappearing person overnight. But Jules is worried about Ingrid. Where's she gone? Why has she vanished? Did something happen to her? And nobody in the apartment building seems to want to listen to her, because there's a rule in the apartment building not to talk to each other, not to disturb each other. So nobody wants to get involved. And even the manager of the apartment building, the person who interviewed Jules in the first place, doesn't want to get involved, thinks everything's okay. So Jules starts to doubt herself. But then she starts to dig up clues, and the more clues she digs up, the more she thinks everything's not right in this building. That's the plot in a nutshell. Our main character is going to stay at an apartment building. There's strange characters in the building. She meets somebody else who's also apartment sitting. That person goes missing, and she's worried and she wants to find out what happened. As she digs deeper and deeper into this mystery, she finds out more things. And they're dark and they could be dangerous. That's where the whole thriller aspect comes in. That's the plot in a nutshell. But there are more things in this book than just the mystery. We have other characters in the building, and these characters are created very well. I enjoyed them a lot. There's also a third apartment sitter called Dylan, and his character is created quite well. I enjoyed him as well in the story. So character-wise, this book is very good. There's some great characters in this story. They just have good backgrounds. They seem to be created with a lot of care. And they're sometimes quirky, sometimes unusual, but they add a lot of substance into the story. that'll add a lot of light and shade into what's going on through the book. The slow burn feel of this book, that's trying to build up this psychological tension in the story. There are moments when it's done very well, but then there's many moments where it falls very flat. And that's when I was pulled out of the story. And during those moments, I found myself book checking, page checking to see how many more pages I had to read of the story to get to the end. That's a sign that the book is just not for you. The mystery, I enjoyed the concept of the mystery, and there's some good elements to the mystery throughout the book. But it's those moments when I'm pulled out of the story and with the main character, because I wasn't fully engaged with the main character, I felt like I couldn't get fully engaged with the mystery. Because of course the main character is driving that mystery forward with what she's finding out, all the things she's doing in the story, adding to the mystery. So I just wish I could get more fully engaged with the mystery in this story. Jules, our main character, I can't put my finger on why I didn't engage with this character as much as I thought I would. I just don't get it. There's something about the character that's just a little off-putting for me. But I did enjoy the way the character interacted with other characters in the building. I don't know if that's because of the other characters in the story, but there's something about interactions that I found more engaging than those moments when the character's alone in the story. I also enjoyed the parts where the character's finding out things about the mystery. So there's different things in the book where the character is more engaging, but I don't know if that's because of the character or other characters and other elements in the story. Ingrid, being that woman who vanishes in the book, she's well used in the story because through her it kickstarts the mystery, the fear, those thriller elements in the book. I think she's well used. I think she's a good character. She has a good history. Even though she's only there for a small time in the story, there's a lot of care taken to create her very well. I found her very engaging in the book. I wonder what this book would be like if Ingrid was the main character instead of Jules. I don't know if the book would be any different. Interesting thought though. Leslie, who's the building manager, the person who interviews Jules in the first place to become an apartment sitter. She's a very interesting character, and I think she would suit a gothic mystery or a gothic horror. She has a very sinister feel about her. The way she just turns up at different times in the building. The way she's always lurking in the background, it seems, always got her eyes on things. And just her demeanour as well in the book, the way she's described, her tone in the book, the way she interacts with people. It's very gothic-like. She adds a lot of atmosphere to the story, and she's one of the most powerful characters, I think, in this book. Being the first Riley Sager book I've read, I wasn't blown away by it. It was good, it wasn't wonderful, but it wasn't terrible, and I'd read more by the same author. I rate this a 3 out of 5. There are good elements in this story, it's got great characters, there are good parts of the mystery in this book as well. That was well done. The disappearance of the lady, even though that's a trope, disappearance was well done and it was quite thrilling and surprising. Just that main character for me in this story, and I don't know what about the main character put me off in this book, but I didn't find the main character engaging very much, and that did ruin the read a little bit for me. And also with the slow burn build-up, we had great moments where that slow burn build-up and tension was wonderful, and then flat moments in the book where I was pulled out of the story as well. So I just wish the author was able to keep that slow burn tension going in the story and not let it go. On my channel, I review mini thrillers. If you enjoy thrillers, check out my channel and subscribe. On the screen now is a link to a video for another book I'm sure you'll enjoy.